Now we are on game 4. By the way, I didn't mention that you have to do the ear training test on level 3, game 3, or lesson 3 by yourself. Now we're getting into where do you make and how do you make a flat or a sharp in music. First of all, a flat does not look like a half note. I want you to practice making valentines, okay? So you have a half of a heart and a half of a heart. That's exactly what a flat is. You bring your line right down here in the middle, and you don't have this side of the valentine, and you have a half a heart. So don't just give me a B like that, because that is really not a flat, okay? If you look here, this is a magnetic flat, and so they have the letter B here, so I put a whole note here. Now, how do you put B flat? Do you put it here, or higher, or lower? No. You have to have this empty space of that B heart, half of the heart, right in the middle, so that you know you're going to be playing a B flat. Over here, now the same thing, it did move down here, so you're going to move it so that it's right in the space, the center of that flat part. The same thing with sharps. They have a note here, and so the sharp, this is what's important about the sharp. This section right in here, that forms like a box right in here. If you're going to put a sharp on a line, the line has to go right through the middle of the box. It just can't sit any place. And then if it's on the space, then the space the box has to be on the space. Notice also, I like to point out to you that the first line is a little shorter than the second line, and these are a little diagonal, a little crooked, or not, they're not straight across. I have also some worksheets that I'll give you to practice making sharps and flats. Okay. On the grand staff below, we're going to draw a brace and a double bar line. I hope you know what a double bar line is, but what is a brace? I'm going to move this and show you on this chart here. This is a brace. Now notice how simple it's made. At the center, where middle C would be, it just curves out a little and then curves back. It almost touches the bottom line and the top line. So really practice making the brace. The brace is what connects the treble clef to the bass clef to tell you that this is a piece of music here where your right hand will play the treble clef and your left hand. Notice in all your books, especially if you're in supplementary music already, the brace is at the beginning, okay? And when you see that, then we know this and this is called the grand staff. The grand staff. I'm sure you know that. All right, so you're going to make a brace here, and you're going to make a double bar here. And it's going to be connected. In other words, from the top line to the bottom, it should be connected. And use a ruler. And then the last line is a little thicker, and the line in front of it is thinner, and use a nice ruler or something to help you draw a straight line from top to bottom, 2 lines, double bar. Over here you're going to make a quarter rest. Remember how we made it like the backward Z? We're going to use stems as well, and some of them on quarter rest and whole rest we don't need a stem. 8th note on D, they're telling you to put an 8th note on D. I have an 8th note on D for you already, and I want to show you the flag. Now, if you look in your music, you will find that the stem on an 8th note, and I don't mind making one here, 8th note on D. So you make a nice round note head, and the stem has to come all the way down to the space D, remember goes 8 notes. Now I'm going to start and make that stem, and as far as I know in your regular music it comes up a little bit and then it swings toward the note head, and it actually stops right under the note head. I noticed that this doesn't go up far enough, but if you look in your books you'll see the 8th note stem coming almost up to the head. And that is the same thing if you have an 8th note with the stem coming down, I've seen many kinds of flags, but again, I noticed that the flag usually comes right down to here. It almost touches the note head again. So again, look in your books, and I'd like you to make the stems a little longer than even these magnetic ones are. Over here you're going to make a whole rest. Now you have to know which line the whole rest is on. Does it hang from the line or does it sit on the line? So you look that up in some of your books and make a whole rest correctly. And dotted half note on C. So you're going to have to make a stem on that. In this case you don't have to make two notes because they tell you where to do it. You're going to draw a treble clef in the first measure. So let me point out what a treble clef looks like. Again, I have a sheet on the bus, a worksheet where you can practice making treble clefs. You always start on the bottom with a little ball and then swing over, and you're going to go up outside the staff, up above the staff. You're not going to stop on the top line, you're going to go up above. And this line is a little bit slanted, so I used to make them straight up myself until I noticed that wasn't exactly correct. So a little slanted. You start making a letter P, and you have to crisscross over the D line, over the fourth line. That's where you cross. Keep coming in a circle, touch the bottom line, a nice round circle, touch the B line, and stop under the G line. That's why this is not only called a treble clef, it is also called a G clef, because it's circling right around your G line. So we'll practice making that. Alright, now, and then you're going to make the letter, you're going to write the names of the letters on the rest of the exercise. And over here you're going to make a bass clef, and then you're going to make whole notes where they say it. I'll show you the bass clef. It starts on the F line, G, B, D, F, a ball. Come up around the ball, touch the top line, and come down so that it's just about directly under the ball that you started out with. Now this didn't quite go to the end of the staff line or so, and I want you to check your own music. Let's look at this one here, and I'll finish by saying two dots. One is above the F line and one is below the F line. So now, besides this being called a bass clef, it is also called an F clef. So they identify, and that's a note you could memorize very quickly, the F line there. Remember, G clef, F clef, it has two names. But over here, the bass clef does stop just under the second line. So notice that, and when you have to draw one down here, copy this one and make it exact as you can. And then you're going to make whole notes on these letter names.